friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're here with another review. Today we're discussing the love songs of W.E.B. Du Bois by Honoree Fanonne Jeffers. This is 797 pages of love. It is songs of love because Honoree Fanonne Jeffers is a poet. She is very expressive in her writing. But although the book starts off with that infusion of poetry and prose, the book is just a delightful novel. It is the story of the United States, it's the story of American people and our origins, which are of Native and African and Anglo heritage, ethnicity. But it is the experience of life since the 1700s to present day. And so in the story, we're reading about a family that began with the intermarriage of Native people and Africans, and how that story becomes upended by infusion of people of English descent, people of British European descent is what I want to say, and how they become one, and how their lineage continues, how Black people of varying skin tones experience life. And so there's discussion of colorism and how people who are lighter skinned can pass as white and receive favor because they look more like the ruling class, and how that experience is different in families because there are sisters who are light skinned and sisters who are dark skinned even though they have the same parents, and what differences they experience. There are some really explosive and intense moments in this book because Honoree Fanonne Jeffers writes about life. She's writing about the songs of people. And when you think about songs and our experience with music and lyrics, and how sometimes people are drawn to melody and harmony without really wanting to explore the meaning behind the words. And we think about that history of enslaved people who told messages in their songs, messages that may have lulled their enslavers into thinking that this was just entertainment, but they were speaking very relevant, very profound messages sometimes of freedom and of the need to escape and plans to escape that other people didn't understand. And so titling this book about love songs makes you think about that history, but the W.E.B. Du Bois part of the title also refers to how Honoree Fanonne Jeffers interweaves the philosophy of W.E.B. Du Bois and the continuing debate about whether W.E.B. Du Bois or Booker T. Washington really sums up the experiences of Black people, our past and our present, and what we want our history to be. And I love this book. She gives this debate to two male characters, even though this is a book mainly about women and how family life and how life is experienced by women. There are some really brilliant male characters in this book. And she gives that debate to two of them, an older man and a younger man. And so we get to these two different generations experiencing the philosophy through the other things that are happening in their life. And it's a discussion that continues to evolve as they grow and learn. And I love it. The thing about this book as well is that it's not chronological. And so we're reading about families through different characters. And so we might see a character at a point in her life, and then we go back to experience what her mother lived through in some of the same places and spaces. And it's just brilliant because it gives you the experience of learning about life through your own evolution, but also through how you interact with your family. So when you're a child, you get the carefully curated stories from your parents or your grandparents, or the stories that other people tell you about your family. Then as you get older and wiser and your parents start to invite you into the intimacy of the family and you learn some of the family secrets, and then you start to piece together what you have learned about your family with other people from outside, with what other people from outside have told you, and you start to identify the real story, the braided story, how different pieces get put together, and you start to learn things that maybe even your parents and grandparents didn't know, even though it seemed like they had the tools to put it all together. And so Honoree Fanonne Jeffers in this novel gives you the love song of history, our ancestry, if we care to explore it. And so, while this is a book about people of Native descent and African descent, it's also that rich history of European integration and life in the South. And I love some of the choices that she makes in this book. The book, for the most part, is set in the South in Georgia. And we also have characters who move north, migrating to the city. And that is kind of the story of the Great Migration, how they leave in search of opportunities, in search of connections, but they also keep on cycling back to the South, and what it is like every time they come back, what they have lost and what they try to reconnect to and reconnect with. And oh man, this is just so beautiful. There are so many different facets of life that are explored here as we go through the different ages, the different characters. And we're seeing some of the things that are happening in our political history and how they're affected by these characters, and also how these characters try to shape their life. This is beautiful. This is one of the most beautiful books I have ever read, not just this year, but of all time. It is a family saga, kind of told in the style like Roots by Alex Haley, but what makes this even more beautiful is that it is the story of women, experienced by women, but also the loves of their lives, quite often men. And one of my favorite characters in this book is a southern gentleman, an older man who is called Uncle Root, and he is the uncle to everyone in this book. All his family members call him uncle, regardless of what the relationship really is. And he is the quintessential gentleman character. He is loving and kind, but he's also very educated and debonair and a benefactor, and one of those silent forces in your life that give without taking, but also is asking so much of you, because along with his investment in you, he's also asking that you build yourself up, and he's there at every point to keep buoying you up until you evolve into yourself. And his character is just so refreshing. He's one of the characters who is continuing with this debate about W.E.B. Du Bois. There are also really beautiful relationships between women. We read about sisterhood and about friendship and about mother-daughter relationships, and how people choose family across genetic relations, how sometimes a lady and her sister-in-law could be better friends than the two brothers could be. And it's just beauty. It is the love song of relationships. It's the love song of life as it is lived by different kinds of people. And it is just so refreshing to read, because while it is the story of blackness and how blackness has been experienced in the United States in the last 250 years or so, it's also so much more about our everyday interactions and about some of the choices that we make as we figure out life for ourselves. And it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful. You revisit these women's lives at different points, different highlights. And as you are learning more about them, it's like they're also learning more about themselves. And so there's some sad moments, and there's some uplifting moments, and there's some dreamy, whispery moments, but there are also some real harsh realities. And this is just an experience of emotions, and I love it. Honoree Fanonne Jeffers makes some excellent choices in this book. Every time there is a new part, a new song is introduced, we get a quote from W.E.B. Du Bois and his reflection on the philosophy of life. Regardless of what you think about him as a person, his writings are just so uplifting and incorporated into the novel, into the scheme of the novel and the storyline. It just works. The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois is one of my highest recommendations for this year. So I know it's a big book. Some people might not be able to get to it right now because, you may be working on meeting your reading goals in other respects. But definitely put this on your TBR as the first book that you read in 2022 if you have to wait that long. If you've heard about this book, and I'm sure you have, because it's an Oprah's book club pick, it's hyped, but it is deserving of all the accolades, I think. So read this book. And if you pick it up because of something I said in this video, I'd love to chat with you about that in the comments down below. If you've already read it, would also love to chat with you down below. Let's not spoil it for anyone. This is a beautiful story, and I want everyone to experience it the way the author intended, that you come into the story not knowing too much. It is about life. It's about philosophy. It is about characters who are they're cringeworthy at moments, but you grow with them, you evolve with them, or you watch them evolve. And you think about some of the choices that these young people are making, and you know that with years will come wisdom if they choose. And it's just such a beauty to immerse in this book and enjoy it. So let's savor this book. So thank you so much for watching this video. Would love to chat with you in the comments down below if you've read this book, or if you want to pick it up because of something you heard in this review. Let's chat down there. And until next time, happy reading. Bye. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. We're here today with another review. Today we are discussing the love songs of W.E.B. It's from W.E.B. Du Bois. This book is called The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois because W.E.B. Du Bois wrote from the motivation of love for blacks. Sing the love songs of W.E.B.